Yo, what's good, Money Crew? Picture this. It's December 23rd, 1913, 2 days before Christmas. The kids are dreaming of toys. Your parents are stressing about last-minute shopping. Congress? Half of them are already on trains, escaping Washington like students fleeing school before the bell rings. And on this calm, sleepy, holiday-distracted afternoon, America creates the most powerful financial institution in its history. Not on a Monday, not during peak news coverage, but right before Christmas, like someone trying to sneak a new rule into the family reunion while everyone's busy carving ham. This is the hilarious, chaotic, and surprisingly dramatic story of how the Federal Reserve was born, and how Christmas became the perfect time to pass a bill nobody could fully agree on.
Quick history lesson. America had already tried central banks twice, and yeeted both of them into the trash like bad Christmas fruitcake. 1791. Alexander Hamilton sneaks in the first bank of the United States. Congress. Cool. Expires in 20 years. Bye. 1816. Second bank shows up. Andrew Jackson walks in like, "This is my emotional support veto pen," and personally body slammed it in 1832 while screaming, "Monster!" at a building. By 1913, saying central bank in public was the equivalent of yelling bomb in an airport, but the bomb is made of money and mustache wax. The entire country had central bank PTSD, so whatever came next had to be planned like a surprise party for someone who once burned down the house at their own birthday. Let's hop back in time. Before the Federal Reserve existed, the US financial system was basically your group chat without an admin, a basketball game with no referee, a Christmas party raffle with no treasurer. In other words, chaos. Banks failed all the time. Interest rates fluctuated like crypto memes. And every few years, the entire economy would collapse just because one guy made a bad bet. The worst meltdown came in 1907. It started with a failed plan to corner the copper market. Yes, the thing you use for wires and coins. Someone tried to take over copper. It failed. And suddenly, boom, nationwide panic. Banks shut their doors. People lined up around blocks to withdraw money. The stock market fell almost 50%. Businesses died. The economy caught fire. And who saved America? Not the government. Not Congress. Not the Treasury. Nope. J.P. Morgan, the actual guy. This man literally locked bankers in his library and refused to let them leave until they coughed up cash to rescue the country. Imagine your entire national economy depending on one rich man giving a TED Talk in his living room. And that's when everyone finally said, okay, yeah, maybe we need something more official than hope JP Morgan is home. Congress did what Congress does best. Spent 4 years and a small fortune studying the problem while basically sending Aldrich on an all-expenses-paid European central bank booze cruise. Result? The Aldrich Plan. One giant banker-controlled megabank with exactly 0 government seats. 0. Democrats read it and went full exorcist. Head spinning, pea soup everywhere. William Jennings Bryan threatened to leave the party and take his Cross of Gold speech with him. The plan crashed and burned so hard it needed its own funeral. But the Jekyll Island squad was like, hold my monocle, took the corpse, slapped a fake mustache on it, renamed it Federal Reserve, and whispered, shh, nobody say the C word. Now we enter the fun part. Congress wants to fix the banking system. But saying the words central bank in 1910 was like saying tax audit today. Instant panic. So Senator Nelson Aldrich gets an idea. He gathers the most powerful bankers in the country, tells reporters he's going duck hunting, and sneaks onto a private train with the Paul Warburg, the economist whose mustache alone could run a country, Frank Vanderlip, big shot bank president, Henry Davison, partner at JP Morgan, Charles Norton, another banking giant, Benjamin Strong, future Federal Reserve legend. And here's the kicker. They all used fake names. Imagine these billionaires, grown men, introducing themselves like, "Hi, I'm, Mr. Roberts, and this is Mr. Smith." Yes, totally real names. They secretly travel to Jekyll Island, a private club so fancy it makes modern resorts look like cheap motels. And there, for over a week, they lock themselves away like contestants on a reality show called America's Next Top Central Bank.
They write the blueprint for what will eventually become the Federal Reserve. They debate. They argue. They sketch out banking reforms on napkins. It's basically Ocean's 11, but with fewer explosions and more balance sheets. The secrecy was so extreme that the full truth didn't come out for decades. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it actually happened.
Enter Woodrow Wilson, former college president, looks like he smells like old books and disappointment. His shopping list. 1. A central bank, but call it Susan. 2. Enough government control so populists don't set the Capitol on fire. 3. Enough banker control so the system doesn't immediately explode like a wet gremlin in a microwave. He locks Carter Glass and Robert Owen in a room and says,
"Don't come out until you two stop fighting like it's the last slice of pizza."
Meanwhile, Wall Street is spreading rumors that the new bill turns your gold into turnips, and rural newspapers are drawing Paul Warburg as an octopus wearing a top hat, strangling a farmer. Wilson basically had to solve a Rubik's Cube while everyone screamed the wrong colors at him. He did it, but only because he set a hard deadline: Christmas or bust. Fast forward a bit, the draft plan is ready, but now the politicians must debate it. And wow, they argued a lot. Think of your family arguing over who ruined the Christmas spaghetti sauce. Multiply that by 100, then put it in Congress. Democrats didn't like the bankers having too much control. Republicans didn't like too much government control. Populists didn't like anything controlled by anyone. Meanwhile, President Woodrow Wilson is sitting there like, "Can we finish this before the next financial crisis, please?" He wanted the bill passed before New Year's, but Congress moved like a slow-loading YouTube video on bad Wi-Fi. By December 1913, the debates still weren't done. People were tired. The holidays were coming. And that's when the bill's supporters realized something genius, or sneaky, depending on your mood. They said, "Hey, what if we push the vote right before Christmas? Because opponents will already be gone, reporters will be distracted, lobbyists will be on vacation, and no one argues too loudly when they just want to go home and eat fruitcake." Thus, the Christmas strategy was born. It's December 23rd. Half of Congress is already chilling at home in fluffy slippers. The halls are quiet. The mood is, let's get this over with. And boom, they roll out the final vote for the Federal Reserve Act. Opponents still shout. Some complain loudly. Unfair, dirty timing. But you can't exactly filibuster when you've already bought your train ticket home. 3 absolute legends decide today is the day they die on this hill. Fighting Bob La Follette, voice already sounding like a broken leaf blower. James Reed, calling the bill financial slavery, like he's auditioning for a Civil War reenactment. And Elihu Root, basically the grumpy grandpa of the Senate. They grab the microphone and start reading the phone book, recipes, whatever. But trains are literally idling at Union Station. Wives are texting, "Honey, the ham is getting cold." One by one, they look at the clock, remember their kids, and go, "Ugh, fine, vote already." La Follette talked so hard he collapsed and got hospitalized the next day. Christmas in a hospital bed, truly the most 1913 thing ever. Senate passes at 11:47 p.m. House concurs in 15 minutes flat. Somewhere, Santa is laughing his jolly butt off. Just hours later, President Wilson signs the Federal Reserve Act. No parade, no big speech, no dramatic Christmas special hosted by Morgan Freeman. Just a quiet signing on a sleepy December afternoon, creating the institution that will eventually control interest rates, inflation, money supply, financial regulations, emergency bailouts, and the nightmares of people paying mortgage loans. And most Americans had no idea it even happened. Here's what the new Federal Reserve was supposed to fix: prevent bank runs. No more panic at the bank with people sprinting like it's Black Friday. 2. Stabilize the money supply, so interest rates didn't swing like a TikTok trend. 3. Supervise banks, because apparently letting private bankers self-regulate was not the best idea. The structure was clever: a central board in Washington, 12 regional Federal Reserve banks, private member banks, a hybrid public-private system. Basically, let's mix everything together and hope nobody argues. Spoiler, they still argued. But the system became essential during the Great Depression, World War II, the stagflation of the 1970s, the 2008 crash, COVID-19, economic chaos. Whether you love or hate the Fed, it definitely matters. And its origin story? Pure Christmas comedy. buried in the fine print nobody read because eggnog. The Fed just legalized the greatest magic trick in history. Before, banks had to have actual gold to back every dollar. Lame. After, they could now lend like $10 for every $1 of gold, as long as Uncle Fed promised to have their back. Translation, Congress just greenlit unlimited money confetti, then handed the cannon to a weird public-private hybrid that answers to no one directly. 1913 America basically went from hard money to brr mode, while everyone was distracted by mistletoe. The gold standard didn't die with a bang. It got quietly strangled by a guy in a Santa hat. Merry Christmas, your dollars are now vibes-based. Let's be honest, if you want to pass a controversial bill, you don't do it on a Monday at 9 a.m. You do it right before a holiday, when opponents are gone, when reporters are shopping, when nobody has the energy to protest. Christmas is basically political camouflage. Historians still debate whether it was a strategic move or a lucky coincidence. But based on the timing, the mood, and the chaos, it was strategic. Very strategic. And it worked beautifully. So the next time Christmas comes around, while you're unwrapping gifts, drinking hot cocoa, or pretending to like fruitcake, remember this. The one quiet December afternoon in 1913, while the rest of America was busy preparing for the holidays, Congress passed a law that created the modern banking system, the monetary policies we follow today, and the institution that now influences everything from mortgages to inflation to your credit card bill. All because the supporters slipped the vote in right before Christmas. It is, without question, the most financially impactful holiday surprise in American history. And that is the Christmas story that changed global finance forever. If you enjoyed this wild ride through history's most expensive holiday surprise, do me a solid, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite part or your hottest Fed take, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got more insane, lesser-known stories like this coming. Politics, money, conspiracies, and chaos. Always with a twist. Thanks for watching, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.